You know, I'm sick and tired, my friends, of talking about the Berglas effect. I made a video 2 years ago talking about how it doesn't exist, and still it persists. There was an article that came out 2 weeks ago from the New York Times. The New York Times made an article about the Berglas effect. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the New York Times. I think usually what they write is pretty terrible. As a matter of fact, in my recent Berglas Effect video, I was called a alternative right Nazi science hating troll because I said the New York Times was not necessarily the most astute of publications, but alas, they did write an article on the dreaded Berglas Effect. If you're not familiar with what the Berglas Effect is, it's a otherwise terrible card trick. A participant names a playing card. They also name a number. They deal down to that number, and that card is found at the number. And without hyperbole, us magicians, we've probably seen this about a million times. And really, it's not that good of a trick. It's a coincidence. 1 in 52. How often do you find something occurring that's 1 in 52? That happens almost on a minute to minute basis. It's not a crazy coincidence. It's not 1 in millions. It's 1 in 52. Think about that for a second. And really, lay people don't care about it. It's a coincidence effect. It doesn't really make much sense. Magicians don't go out of their way to give it a good reason for existing. Maybe they're memorizing the deck, and that's why they know what card happens to be at that number. That's a more interesting premise. You give the spectator the ability to memorize a deck of playing cards. That seems like a more, I would say, a power that they would like to have. But no, instead, magicians make it as a coincidence trick, and it's just terrible. So this New York Times article goes and has an interview with David Berglas, and they actually talk about the many instances, the anecdotes where the Berglas effect took place. Now, here's the thing about the Berglas effect, and the reason in my video why I said it isn't real is because it's not real. If you look even at the anecdotes, if you look at even the testimony, even Berglas's performances of the trick, it's never the same. It's always changing depending on the situation. Richard Kaufman put out a book called The Berglas Effects for the same reason. That it's not just one trick. It's not just the Berglas effect. It's an amalgam of all these different types and different ways of doing the trick. But magicians don't want that. They want a concrete method that works each and every single time without much effort. You're not going to find that. Now, to me, the Berglas effect, which is a no touch, you don't touch the deck, the spectator takes it out of the box, they find the card is at the number, that only takes place 51 out of 52 times, and that's statistically insignificant to me. If we were to talk about statistics that make a difference, why don't we talk about how 13% of that was a joke, shut up, don't get your panties in a knot. Now, there are many anecdotes of him not touching the deck and him having the cards in a glove compartment and the person takes it out, they count down to the number, and they find it. Again, all anecdotes. Look at him actually perform the trick, and it changes depending on the situation. He doesn't have one concrete method of doing the trick. Most of the time, he's jazzing. Does he probably have methods that work each and every single time with memorized decks and certain ways to do it? Yeah, probably, but you don't want that. You don't want to put effort because you're a lazy virgin magician and you're never satisfied with the answer. You think there has to be some mythical way that he's doing it that he hasn't shared with us. He's already told us everything. Even in the article, he goes to mention how improv, and you can't teach improvisational skills. You can't teach experience. He's already told magicians how it's done, but to them, that's not enough. That's all you need, and it's coming from the horse's mouth itself, where he's talking about experience and improvisational skills and how most of the trick he's figuring it out as it goes, and sometimes it doesn't go well. They spend a good portion of the trick talking about stooges and how people think that he's stooging in order to get that. Stooging is, of course, when you have somebody that's in on it. For example, what if a participant happens to mention, the 22nd card, and the stooge, somebody who's in on it, says, oh, okay, I know the 22nd card is the 7 of spades, so let me just say that one and make the trick work. That's stupid, and that's retarded. There are hundreds of different ways of doing the trick, none of which involves stooging, and the stooging ones are even more complicated because then you have to have somebody know the deck, and you have to have somebody either with a little crib sheet where the order of the cards is on the sheet, and they're able to say it's a mess. Now, I hate to give him any credit for anything because he's a terrible person, and if I ever see him in person again, I want to just give a running uppercut to his stupid, smug British face. But Peter Turner and I talk on a frequent basis, and every single time we talk, he manages to nail the exact card at the exact number without any sleight of hand, turning the cards face up. I name a card, I name a number, and he finds the card at that number with no visible sleight of hand. Is he better than Berglas? Why don't we call it the Turner effects for that matter? But no, you're not satisfied just because of an anecdote from 75 years ago where somebody said, no, 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 trust me, he didn't touch the cards. It's all the same shit. Now, the article is well written and he does do his due diligence and actually talking to the man himself. And he talks about Steve Cohen and Barry Richardson and their experiences. And the Steve Cohen one is interesting because there he doesn't do any card at any number. He does any card in a jacket pocket in my car trick, which is a little bit interesting, but it shows you that it changes depending on the circumstance. So when I put the video out a couple years ago saying the Berglas effect doesn't exist, and I had a bunch of virgin magicians come out and say, oh, you're just ignorant, you're just dumb. You're dumb and you're ignorant because you didn't understand the video. The Berglas effect, as you see it, doesn't exist because there are hundreds of methods for the Berglas effects. There are several. There are millions even. Du retard. And even in the article, the author goes and has Berglas perform the actual trick, and he's off by one. He's off by one card. He mentions 44, and the card happens to be 43rd, which is further proof that the trick changes depending on the circumstance. Sometimes he's bang on. Sometimes he has to make a little bit of a change to it. Sometimes he has the perfect scenario where the cards aren't even touched by him, and they happen to find the card at the number. Either way, it doesn't exist to how you think it does. Magicians are terrible people. You guys are insatiable when it comes to you're looking for methods of tricks that already exist. And the worst part is that Berglas is the one that told you the method, but you're not satisfied. You think, oh, there's something else taking place. No, it just takes years and years of practice and refinement and performance to do it. Years of constant just trying to finagle certain circumstances to work in your favor and failing, which magicians are terrified of. And honestly, at this point, it's a little gay. I know, on Pride Month, I'm saying gay in that sort of context, but yeah, it is. You guys are obsessed with it. You guys want it. You guys want to make love to it more than a woman or a man. Your appetite for the Berglas effect is gay, and just see it in the market. Even see it in my videos. I have an any card, any number trick probably every month. I have a different tutorial for a method for any card, any number. Why? Because I'm a gross magician. I can't help it. I need to get the patch, the anti-ACAN patch. So all I have to say is just realize the trick already has been explained to death by Berglas himself. He's not hiding anything. He's been very candid. Stop looking between the lines. There's nothing there. Get laid, please. Try to find a woman and do what you need to do. Forget about the trick. And, if the circumstance comes up, yeah, do it. But just have a reason for it. Have a reason as to why you're doing this. That doesn't make it a 1 in 52 coincidence. That's as virgin as it gets when it comes to a video, and the detail for a terrible trick. My goodness, I hate that I even devoted as long as I did in this particular video to the task of breaking down how you're wrong for thinking the Berglas effect as you think it actually exists. And I get people leaving paragraphs, and then I'm even worse because look at this. I set up the lights. I'm doing the ultra key to the back to take the background out and change it for a studio. Stop it. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being a part of these. I hope you enjoyed this video in particular. Make sure to stick around, subscribe if you haven't already. It's a fun channel. I do a lot of tutorials, a lot of commentary. If you're a virgin magician, even if you're not a virgin magician, you'd probably find something fun. And if you want more tutelage, check out the Pigcakee Card Academy, where $5 a month gets you access to, I believe, 1,000 videos on tutorials for magic tricks and coin tricks and mentalism, and it's fun. Check it out. It keeps me afloat, and you'll be getting something in return. Anyways, I'm gonna go get Cuban bread. And wonder why it is that Cuban bread is given with the shell, the actual shell portion, and not just the masa on the inside, the meat. That's what I'm wondering. And go shower, please. You're disgusting.